The Baltic Dry Index was once regarded as one of the very best indicators of future economic activity. The BDI measures the demand for shipping capacity versus the supply of dry bulk carriers. Now, dry bulk carriers ship the raw materials which function as inputs to finished goods like concrete, steel, electricity and food. In other words, they carry coal, iron ore and grains. Now, a boom in Chinese shipbuilding tended to skew the indicator for a time, but it's still worth a look. Here's the Baltic Dry Index going back 10 or 12 years. You can see a bit of a roller coaster ride. This is what's known as the global financial crisis crash. A bit of a recovery and now the latest dump. The latest figure we have is about 904. That compares to a peak reading of close to 12,000. That figure of 904 must be close to operating costs for shipping. Let's start our price check with commodities carried by those big ships. And for that we head to the Chicago Board of Trade, where the vast bulk of international agribusiness takes place. And here's what started the end-of-week rally. China announced it would cut interest rates. It's the first cut in that country since 2008, and there's obviously reflecting concern about a slowdown in the Chinese economy and the possible flow-on from the Eurozone crisis. So everything went up, of course. Soybeans jumped, which I guess that comes from the fact that China is the world's largest importer of soybeans, close to 60 million tonnes a year. Wheat was on the skids, but it pulled back significantly, still a fraction down for the week, and corn had the additional needle of weather concerns for the current corn crop. Here in Australia, ASX futures were said to be well bid and supported by rain, especially some handy falls in the west. Both New South Wales and WA wheat fell. There's obviously been a closer look at just how much wheat will be carried through to the next harvest. Spot prices for wheat also weakened, but canola reacted to the overseas trend for oilseeds, and sorghum continues its comeback, up $16 in the past month. Heading now to the sale yards, where unseasonal rain across Queensland and a cold snap right through eastern states saw cattle numbers drop in most centres. National yardings were off 21% on the previous week, and although quality was described as plain to poor, there was reasonable competition between restocker and feeder buyers. Now, those figures would certainly look good for beef producers. That's a very significant lift for a Jap ox. The big disappointment for exporters would have been the rebounding of the Australian dollar. The Eastern States Young Cattle Indicator had its first lift in a while, closing at $3.71 a kilo. Sheep and lambs had a mixed week. There were plenty of heavier lambs around, while restockers chased the lighter varieties. So trade lambs shed 8 cents, while sheep sellers were helped by a lift in skin prices. Now to the live trade, and still no news on quotas. All sorts of rumours, but nothing firm. Some of those bigger cattle have been shipped to Malaysia and the Philippines, but just a drop in the bucket numbers-wise. Prices firmed marginally last week, at least for steers. Heifer demand is very weak. To the soft commodities, and in New York, cotton had a good week, but there remains considerable unease with sugar, given the export potential from India. Cotton bounced on that interest rate move from China, while sugar is in retreat, but closed up a fraction over the week. Finally, to wool, where the lift in our dollar, plus the ongoing international economic turmoil, combined to push markets south. The good news is that the market closed with some confidence, but overall the drop for the week was 1.6%, but not nearly so bad when you factor in the dollar ratios. Here's the number for the Eastern Market Indicator, 1,079 cents a kilo. And that's the Landline check on prices.